Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
Hey, welcome everybody to another glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. A little gray, gloomy day. I guess if you're a Stanford Cardinal fan, it was a little gloomy. It wasn't a great day for Mr. Shaw and his Stanford Cardinals. The USC Trojans go out there on the farm and cut down the trees, if you will, as they go out there and destroy the Stanford Cardinal. Here, a lot of takes on this. It's kind of a quick reaction show. And then after that, during the week, we'll do like some breakdowns and stuff like that. But as far as that goes, USC beats Stanford 41-28. So you have that Trojans win. So they fight on for another day, undefeated. First game in the Pac-12 for Lincoln Riley. And it's still a little warm, a little heat wave stuff. So I'm still a little sweating a little bit. But they went out there and from the first drive and got an interception again. This defense by Alex Grinch is forcing turnovers. So, you're going to have people like Kirk Herbstreit. You're going to have people on ESPN. You're going to have all these people talk about the defense and, they can't do this, they can't do that. But they're taking the ball away. And there's some seasons where you just take the ball away and that's what you do all year. And they've been taking the football away. They took away from Rice, took away from Stanford. How many podcasts did you listen to? How many college football analysts did you hear people say, hey, take Stanford in the points this week? It's going to be close. Stanford's going to find a way. Like, let's just call what it is. Stanford head coach is David Shaw is just not a good head coach. Like, he's just not a good head coach. He's not a big time head coach. They're going to have him stay there forever because it's more of an academic institution. It's not really about winning, and they're not going to win big time football games without him. So maybe once in a generation, he'll convince an Andrew Luck to come there, convince a Christian McCaffrey to come there. But besides that, they're never going to be big time football. And they beat up on an inferior coach in Clay Helton last year. And this year, let's just say the ante up, right? Like MLP, ante up. The ante is definitely up with Lincoln Riley there. Lincoln Riley knows what he's doing. He knows how to run a football team, and he knows how to get explosive plays, get the ball to his playmakers. And I think the thing that separates Lincoln Riley, and I said this before, is that in the cusp of his offensive, mind, he still wants to be powerful in the run game. Wants to be powerful in the run game, and you saw today Travis Dye over 100 yards. Austin Jackson had some. Austin Jones had some carries as well too. So that's what they want to do, and when they want to do that, then they're going to be able to do that to people. Do they have the girth on the defensive line yet? Like Kirk Herbstreit, ESPN, all those guys can keep talking about it. They can keep running their mouth. They can keep talking about it. But the dominant part of this team is the offense with Mario Williams, with Raleek Brown, with all those running backs, and also, did I mention the Blitnikoff winner? I mean, the guy who caught a 75-yard bomb today, Jordan Addison. I mean, Jordan Addison is a beast. He's an absolute beast in every way of at wide receiver. His idol is Calvin Ridley. He looks like Calvin Ridley in a lot of ways. Just makes big play after big play, and that's what USC's done. The 75-yard touchdown run, you might get that. This is why they're clicking on all cylinders. Caleb Williams and him, and Jordan Addison and USC, because you might get a look like that all day where there's no safety over the top, right? They're probably taking. I haven't seen all 22 yet, but you got to probably figure they're two safeties deep. They don't want the ball going over their head, right? They don't want that at all. So the one time in the game, first half, where that happened, boom, Caleb Williams over the top to Jordan Addison, who did a great job of balancing his not falling down and going down on that play, but finishing that catch and getting yak yards to get the touchdown as well. So I think once that happened, that was the backbreaker for Stanford, and it was over. And it was absolutely over as far as that goes. So there's some little mantra thing, not a mantra, but little things that are going on with the broadcast of these games because nobody wants to give USC credit. Right? Nobody wants to give USC credit for doing what they're doing. So they talk about the transfer stuff. So here is the problem with the transfer stuff, and I'll say this real quick. USC is playing within the rules and the confines of what is there in college football. If players want to come to Southern California, play for Lincoln Riley, and play in this system, you can't stop them. You can't contain them. They're going to come to the West Side, whether you want it or not. And this right here is not like, so for if you listen to this podcast for the first time, but this is not one of those rah homer shows. I just try to tell the truth. And like those guys want to play for Lincoln Riley. I mean, Travis Dye wants to play for Lincoln Riley. Caleb Williams could have went somewhere else after Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma, but he wanted to stay in the same system and be, and put together his resume because one day he wants to go to the NFL, and I think this year he's definitely a Heisman candidate. This year he and Jordan Addison. So with that being said, like people are trying to make this out to be some USC, but just a transfer team. Oh yeah, it's a transfer team. They're running their mouth. Oh, it's a transfer team. Somebody gets somebody who's been there for a while is a true Trojan, if you will, because the Kirk Herbstreits of the world doesn't feel like these players should have the ability to move from school to school. Bullshit. All right. It's just simple as that. I don't swear much on this program, but it's bullshit. Like those players should be able to transfer. If I wanted to transfer from one school to another, I'll be able to do that without having any problems. Just because I want to play football or play basketball or whatever, I should be able to do whatever I want as far as that goes. These are young adults. If coaches can move and not sit out a year like back in the day, then there's no reason why these kids should have to do that. All right. So they're making a decision. They want to play for Lincoln Riley. They want to play with Caleb. Some of these guys know each other for on 11-on-11, 7-on-7, whatever leagues they're playing in, and they're just trying to do what's best for them. They're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, 22 years old, and they figured out what they want to do for a living or what they want to do for themselves. God bless you. There's folks who are 30, 40 years old who haven't figured that out yet. So good for them. And doing that. And then also in this game, USC is up 41-14. In this ball game, and you have the ESPN crew trying to make you feel like Stanford has a chance to win this game. Like, I mean, it's just a fallacy. Like, stop. Like, be true to the game. If you're broadcasting a game and it's a blowout, then good for you. I mean, you're still getting the same check anyway. Stop trying to make a game close when it's not really that close. Anybody still doubting Lincoln Riley's ability to call plays? They don't look much better in this situation than they did when they had Clay Helton. You want Clay Helton back? I mean, this is how a football team, a team that is USC, should look when they're playing inferior opponents. They should score 66 against Rice. They should score 41 against Stanford. It's just that simple. And great job by them and USC in this ball game, and we'll preview next week who they play next week 3's matchup, and they just did a good job. Caleb Williams again, just fantastic. I mean, really has been just been in almost flawless in some of his performances this year. I mean, just look at the poise in the pocket, his ability to throw the ball down the field, his ability to just make the right decisions with the football. I mean, if you play over the top and they got Mario Williams in the slot, he's going to go to Mario Williams. If you want to blitz everybody, he's sliding the project. He's putting the projections where they need to go, and he's going to go over the top of Jordan Addison. I mean, the guy knows exactly what he wants to do with the football in every single play, even on the RPO stuff where he is kind of pulling the ball in and out of the belly of the running back, making sure that he knows whether or not he's going to be able to do that. So USC has 12. They usually had 12 total drives. They ran 63 plays, 505 yards, passing yards. Let's see what Caleb Williams did as far as passing today. USC did not turn the ball over all game, and they forced 4 turnovers from Stanford. So they forced 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions. So that's that defense. Listen, you can say whatever you want about the defense, but if you're getting turnovers and you're getting this team extra possessions, I mean, the first drive turnover, I thought, there's nothing wrong, and I hate to say it like this, but there's nothing wrong in these games with taking 3 points. I thought early in this game, Shaw kind of, they failed to get into the end zone. They kicked the field goal. USC jumped off sides, I believe, and then they tried to on 4th down, came back with some jump pass in the corner, in the left corner of the end zone. USC tips it up in the air, intercepts it, and runs it back to the 20-yard line. I mean, that's just don't take points off the boards. It's okay to score, and that's why. I mean, Shaw was one of them guys who I kind of thought that, hey, let him get an opportunity and talk to him about maybe coaching USC, but he ain't the one. He is not the one. David Shaw is not the one, and they can be 500. They can be kind of like a little crappy, team that goes 500 and makes it like a minor bowl team. If you want that coach, then that's David Shaw. And once every 10 to 15 years, he'll convince a big time quarterback to go to Stanford. That's a David Shaw MO as far as that goes. So that's not really fun for Stanford. And that's fine. I mean, I'm not big on that, but that's all I'm saying about that as far as that goes. Stanford is not in USC's class, and when USC leaves for the Big 12, it's going to be even worse in the Pac-12 for them because it's going to look even worse for them. They won't have any quality opponents to play. So Raleek Brown, 4.8 yards a carry. Austin Jones, 4.8 yards a carry. And then Travis Dye, 7.5 yards per carry in this ball game. And that's where those receivers really help USC get the running game going. Because once they get a lead, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. Caleb Williams, 20 of 27, 341 yards, 12 yards per 12 yards per 12.6, and then you have 4 touchdowns, just outstanding all day. Jordan Addison, right? They said that it was overkill, right? They said, hey, getting him is overkill. They have too many weapons. He won't get the ball as much. Yada, yada, yada. 7 catches, 172 yards, and 24.6 yards per reception. They got 2 touchdowns. So that's 4 touchdowns in 2 games for him. And then his long was 75 yards. So the combination of what he does and what Mario Williams does makes this team so deadly. And then you got Jones and Dye, who you could throw 2 out of the backfield as well. So that makes it even tougher. Student Body Right USC podcast. We're doing a little recap of the USC's victory over Stanford, 41-28. They win that game. I'm kind of going away. Don't let this 41-28 score kind of fool you. USC didn't just kind of dominate this game. USC kind of just they did from day one just smoked them. They absolutely smoked Stanford here as far as as far as as far as that goes. So trying to think any other thoughts about this. So Caleb Williams, we got notes about Jordan Addison, his ability to get deep, and also on the screen game too as well was very good. So let me just squash some stuff about the defense. Like when you have a guy like Caleb Williams and you have an offense run by Rick and Raleigh that is just known for scoring a whole lot of points, right? They just score a whole lot of points. You're going to be in situations where you're going to have teams, playing catch up, and they're going to be able to get you're going to play like certain defenses to just not give up a big play, to not do all those to not do anything to get them back in the game quickly. Because even if you make them run the football and get chunk plays and stuff like that, and maybe give up a 20-30 yard pass, like why am I gonna be overly aggressive in a game where I don't need to be? And I think that's part of it too. Like, I mean, the pressure's on you to catch up. So the thing about USC's defense, I would say this is we have not seen the opponent yet, and maybe it's just the game where they go at Utah, right? Where you're gonna see the defensive tackles, the third down conversions that maybe kind of plague them a little bit. Maybe in that game this year might be the situation where they will maybe lose that game or kind of falter defensively in a big spot. But even with that being said, USC is gonna score points against everybody they play. Like Caleb Williams knows this offense like Peyton Manning knows the offense he had with the Colts. Like, and he really knows it well. Like, you can just see it if you watch football and you know football. Like, when does he make bad decisions in this offense? He really doesn't. RPO stuff or throwing the ball down the field. Like, it's just he clearly knows this offense left and right. So that's where it's still, even with the quote unquote defensive efficiencies that people feel like USC has, you got to say that they still put the onus on you to score touchdowns every time. So if you're kicking field goals, if you are, turn the ball over, you do it once or twice in this game where you settle for a field goal, or you go ahead and you go ahead and turn the ball over, then you feel like the game is over in the first half. And that's exactly what USC wants. Their offense is so good, they put so much pressure on you to score that defensively, I mean, it's gonna be an issue for you. It's gonna be an issue for. I mean, it's offensively gonna be an issue for you. So yeah, you might look at the tape and say, "Oh yeah, we can throw the football against USC." Okay, you better have great communication with that as well, because if you throw one pass behind the receiver, off the receiver's hands, if USC undercuts her out and tips the ball in the air and they get a pick, like that is devastating to your team, because you took something where you said, hey, we could score at will against USC or maybe score against USC, and then now you're in a situation where you're like, damn, it's not going to happen because USC is going to score off of this turnover we just had, this fumble we just had. Like, their offense is so good, it's so capable, that you almost have to play perfect on your side of the football. You got to do what the Giants, for old school football fans, you got to do what the Giants did to the Bills in that K-Gun Jim Kelly offense. I mean, that's how he got plays for days, and his quarterback is in lockstep. So I'm not saying USC is going to win a national championship. I think they're on their way to that, maybe next year. But I think USC is on their way to being a national power again. And they're on their way to being that team that people are fearful of playing again. And I kind of told you that because Lincoln Riley is that special kind of coach, that special kind of play caller, if you will. And they're going to be in the mix every single year because you see what's coming up with all these different receivers, see what's coming up with all these defensive linemen, all these recruits are coming. It's just right now what we're doing right now is the tip of the iceberg, tip of the proverbial iceberg here with on the USC Student by Right podcast, and also as people who are watching what's happening in Troy right now. It's gonna be a fun ride. It's gonna be a fun ride. So we'll break some stuff down. Just kind of a quick recap of the game. USC dominated this game. They're up 41-14. Then they kind of went into cruise control. Beat up on the Stanford Cardinal here. And they do what they want. They do what they should have been doing. You playing these bad opponents, you should destroy them. It's really that simple. When you're playing these bad football teams, you should destroy the opponent, and that's what USC is doing. Fun to watch them to actually do that. And crazy day in the national in NCAA this week, where you got, I heard about all this stuff about Notre Dame, and now Notre Dame is just playing pitiful football right now. So we'll see what happens there. That's the game. That's the game you can mark off the schedule as a tough game when they come to USC on the 26th. That's gonna be a tough. That's gonna be a pick that's gonna be a game that they don't really want. They're gonna wish they didn't come. They're gonna wish they didn't come to that game because they're gonna get smoked in that game. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. So USC wins. I'm not gonna until I get the all 22 and all this other stuff like that. I'm not gonna go too crazy and kind of analyze the game. It's just a kind of quick reaction to USC's victory over Stanford. Good job by all. Again, we call like we see it. When they're playing great, we're going to talk about it. When they're not playing good, we're going to give them that criticism because that's what that's what we do here. No Homer show here on the Student Body Right USC podcast. All right, so we're out. Peace, fight on, all that good stuff. USC wins, and then they're 2-0 now, and they have Fresno State coming up. We'll kind of talk about this game, and then we'll preview the game against the Bulldogs. Fight on.